In our consumer news, will those new tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China end trade deficits or start a trade war? The U.S. could find out if they take effect around midnight as planned. Economists worry the tariffs could lead to higher prices for American consumers. There are also concerns about the stock market this morning. Amy Kiley has those details.
We don't want to have this fight, but we are not going to lose it.
America's top trade partners say they're planning retaliatory tariffs while trying to stop the ones President Trump is set to impose just after midnight. He plans to force U.S.-based companies to pay 25% extra on imports from Canada and Mexico. The number is 10% for Canadian energy products and Chinese goods.
Any good we're bringing in from Canada or Mexico, again, whether it's a business or consumer, is going to be the one ultimately paying that 25% additional fee.
Some economists say U.S. households would spend about $2,600 more annually under the plan.
There's no question in the economic literature about who ultimately pays the price for tariffs. It's the consumers in the country imposing the tariffs.
Trump acknowledges potential pain, but says it will be worth it for the end result. He says he wants to reduce trade deficits and secure U.S. borders.
Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada, and we're not going to allow that.
Trump says talks with neighboring countries continue. China says it's turning to the World Trade Organization for help. All three nations say if Trump doesn't back down, they'll impose tariffs on U.S. exports.
Americans are going to be astonished by the Canadian response.
And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz filing a lawsuit in response to the Trump administration's implementation of a federal spending freeze. You may remember that from last week. That spending freeze was threatening $1.8 billion in federal funding that the state of Minnesota gets each month. In a statement, Governor Walz says the freeze is an illegal power grab meant to hurt the public. And Apple's new iPhone fell short of expectations, but the company's still reporting record sales. Apple reported $124 billion in revenue last quarter. The iPhone 16 made $69.7 billion, which is $1 billion less than analysts estimated for the holiday season. That really propped up Apple's revenue was its services sector, which includes things like Apple TV Plus, Apple Music, and device warranties. At the weekend box office, last week's #1 movie Flight Risk went from 1st to 5th place with $5.6 million. One of Them Days slid from 3rd to 4th with $6 million, and Mufasa the Lion King dropped from 2nd to 3rd with $6.1 million. Companion debuted in 2nd place, making Dog Man the new top dog at the box office. The animated adventure starring the voice of Pete Davidson as a canine cop ran off with an estimated $36 million.